Hey, and welcome back to Protect and Invest with Marsha. Thank you for joining me on another video. Today, we're going to talk about wills, the importance of having a will. You probably don't have one, probably think you don't need one, but I'm here to tell you that you do. All right, so let me explain to you what a will is. So basically, a will is like a legal document that will coordinate the distribution of your assets to beneficiaries, right? And it can also appoint guardians for your children upon death. Now, you may often hear a will, a last will and testament. That's another way of saying a will, but nonetheless, it's so important that people understand what this is and why they need it. And really, it doesn't take you being an older person to have one. Young people pass away too. Young people who have started families pass away too. Healthy people, right, as well, whether it may have been a accident, whether it could have been an illness or whatever the case is, right, or homicide, God forbid. Things happen in life, and I know we don't want to talk about death. I know we don't want to think about things that don't make us feel happy, but if you think about the people you love and you really consider what they would have to go through if you don't have a will, it might change your mind. So basically, let's talk about what happens when you don't have a will. So essentially, if you don't have a will, you're going to leave it up to the court system to decide who gets what. Okay? And the process of probate can take several months to several years before the court can come up with a decision. They will oftentimes appoint somebody like an attorney or what have you to basically help out with making that decision and and distributing those assets. And it can be one of the most vitriolic processes for people, because you can have people coming out of the woodworks for your stuff. Auntie, Janice from Lord knows when, right? The last family reunion you probably went at was like 10 years ago, and you have cousins and uncles and Lord knows maybe your neighbors may show up, okay? And it's so important for you to think about, man, do I want my loved ones who I truly do want to have my assets, do I really care that they don't go through that hot mess and that they have something set up so that it's automatic? They know where I am with who gets what, so that it's an easy and clean process, because we don't want family fighting. We don't want no tension, because the reality is people are greedy. Right? People are greedy, and then not just that, but people get really emotional. There are probably things in your assets, whether it may be like, a family, an heirloom or something that's of sentimental significance, and your wife or your children would have wanted that as a reminder of who you are, as a memorial to who you were when you pass away. So it's important for you to think that it's just not about money. It could be other things as well. In addition, your house, right? Like, you want to make sure your family can keep the house in their name, especially if it's children or what have you, if you want to pass it down and leave a legacy, or you want to make sure that your family, like if your wife or your husband is not on the deed or anything like that, hey, it's important that you at least add them to the will as people who should inherit, or whom that asset should transfer to, if you are to pass away, prematurely or what have you. So just think about these things. Like, don't put your family through hell. Okay? Don't let them go through that. It's very painful. Like, dealing with death is already one thing, but then dealing with what happens after death is another. You have the funeral, right? And all the things that go through that. Then you have the grieving process, right? And basically trying to pick up where you left off for those who you leave behind. Like, why would you want them to have to go through a vitriolic, difficult, complex, long-term court process for assets, for things that they may need when you're gone, or things that should have hopefully gone through the family, if that is what you would honestly want by the end of the day? So with that being said, I also think it's important that we understand that it's not just everyday people who unfortunately are not prepared with a will. I mean, you're talking about millions of Americans who do not have a will in place. That is scary. That's a lot of assets that are going to be floating around when tons of people start to pass away. Interestingly enough, celebrities have also made these bad decisions. You may be thinking to yourself, oh wow, celebrities have all the lawyers and all the financial advisors around them to set them up so that they're not doing the same mistakes as everybody else. Well, actually, they are. They are making that mistake as well. Just to give you a few names: Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. All of them. Now, I must make a slight correction. So Michael Jackson was thought to not have had a will, but apparently it was figured out later on. It's just after his passing. It's just that his mother ended up, I guess, stating that he didn't have a will. I guess his family tried going after his estate. They didn't know there was a will in place, or maybe no one could find it. Eventually it was discovered, but it's important that when a will is established, that it's kept in a safe place, and that everybody who you need to know, or who needs to know, are aware of where it's at. Maybe you keep it with your local attorney. Maybe you keep it at one of the bank safes, or in a safe in your home that somebody can access that you trust. But nonetheless, Michael is somewhat of an exception in this case. Now, the names I mentioned, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, these are people with like multi-million-dollar estates, right? These are people who, even after they passed away, especially because they were in the music field, like their music keeps making money, right? It's the type of career where you're producing products that continue to generate money even long while after you're gone. And so your family can very much be missing out on anything that you produce that may keep producing after you're gone. Don't be these celebrities. With that being said, you're probably asking, okay, so how do I get a will? Well, interestingly enough, it is not that difficult. Basically, all you need to do is find maybe like a legal subscription service that will give you access to attorneys for cheap, maybe $30 to $40 a month, and somebody, literally an attorney, can set you up with a will that's customized to your interests, to what you would want in terms of who gets what, okay? And it's important that you start on doing this now, because tomorrow's not promised. Unfortunately, here's an example. Recently in the news, unfortunately, the latest American Idol contestant, Willie Spence, passed away this month, the month of October, due to a automobile accident. And my heart goes out to his family, and God rest his soul. But that young man was 23 years old. Now, I do not know his circumstances. I don't know if he had a will. I don't know the value of his assets or anything like that, but that just goes to show tomorrow is not promised. Okay, you could be doing something and crap hits the fan. So it's just important for you to just think ahead, think urgently, and get it done. It's so simple. Literally, go online. You can probably go to a site that'll allow you to fill out a questionnaire and will produce a will for you. It just has to be that your will is clear and can be clearly interpreted, okay? So just make sure that your will is clearly states who gets what. If it's not clear, it's still gonna be a dirty battle. So make sure that your will is clear, and it doesn't hurt to pay $25, $30, $40 a month towards a legal services subscription, and have someone who's an expert at this help you out. It's not that difficult. I've done it for my own family. Trust me, it's a lot simpler than you know. All right, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you liked it, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on another one.